All right, guys. So our next topic here brings us to the movie The Gray Man by the Russo brothers. I don't know why I stumbled over that name. The Russos, though, a while back they announced they were going to be. I don't know if the title was announced till now. I don't remember it being announced that the title was going to be Gray Man, but they a while back they announced that Chris Evans and Ryan Gosling were going to be starring in a film together produced by the Russos, and I don't think there was really any information about it at the time. But now there's a new article out that's kind of, for one, it just kind of explains what the movie is, but it also says that it's going to be Netflix's biggest movie. Apparently, I don't know if that's. I don't know if it's going to cost more than The Irishman because that was their biggest, most expensive movie to date. It doesn't say but it's going to be upwards of $200 million. We'll put it that way. That's what they say it's going to be. But let's take a look at this here because there is some good information actually about what the film's going to be about. And like, correct me if I'm wrong. Did they have the title? Because I know it's based off a book, but was it called Gray Man before this article? I don't remember it having the title.
I don't remember that being the title either, but
Yeah, all I remember was
it's a kind of
actors.
nondescript title, so I'm not sure I would have remembered it either.
That might
Anyway,
honestly be it. Yeah, like maybe I just didn't remember it. But either
Yeah.
way, it sounds interesting. And what the Russos had to say about it was, for one, there is a novel based off it. So I guess if you want some sort of spoilers, you could just go find this novel. It's called The Gray Man as well, and it's by Mark Greaney. So I obviously have not read into it at all, or I probably would have known it was called Gray Man. I had no idea. But either way, the movie is a real mano a mano between these two great actors who represent two different versions of the CIA and what it can be and what it can do. And then he goes on to say, for those who were fans of Captain America the Winter Soldier, which I think everybody here was, this is us moving into that territory in more of a real world setting. And that is what this movie really means for us. And so that's what the Russos are describing the movie as, which that is what kind of got me excited about it. Because like before I was like, oh, cool. I like Chris Evans. I like Ryan Gosling. They're great. But the Russos, I haven't really been a big fan of the Russos movies outside of the MCU. Like, in all honesty, there haven't been like, actually, I can't say they all haven't been complete dumpster fires because I haven't even watched two of them. Like, I haven't watched Cherry and I haven't watched 21 Bridges. I watched Extraction, and then what was the other one they did? I think they did another one. Either way,
did they do Extraction, or were they just producers on that?
Yeah, they've only been producers on all of them. Other than Cherry, they actually did Cherry.
Cherry was they directed Cherry, correct?
Yeah. But their production company was behind all three of those. I think there may have been another one, but I can't remember off the top of my head. But either way, their Agbo production company was behind those three movies. So like they picked them up and they made them happen. Sure. And I wasn't really impressed by.
They had to have some kind of. They had to like the stories well enough to. Yeah,
and like I said, I never even gave 21 Bridges and Cherry like a good honest try myself yet, because I don't know, I heard from people that I trust their opinions on that they weren't very good, so I just haven't. There's a lot of content out there, so I really haven't felt like just never got around to it. I did watch Extraction, and it was so.
You're not going to roll your dice on something you're unsure of when there's stuff that you're a lot more sure you're like out there.
Exactly. So. But maybe one day when I have some time, I'll watch them. But I'm mainly just excited for this because Winter Soldier was probably my favorite MCU movie. They did amazing with that. I think it was number one on
our list when we ranked them. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So if they're gonna be like kind of it's like a return to form for them in a lot of ways, So I'm hoping that this one. I don't know. Like I appreciate that they took like the chances on the other ones. Like Extraction was a little bit more in their wheelhouse, and they didn't direct that one or anything or write it. But they produced it. And which, interestingly enough, was probably the better of the three, because I've heard, like, sadly, Cherry looked really good, but I heard really bad things about it, so it was kind of disappointing. I was looking forward to watching it.
Cherry's gotten beaten up by the critics a little bit. I saw 21 Bridges and Extraction. I like both those movies. I mean, I've seen bad movies. I've seen some of this other stuff Netflix has put out, and
Yeah,
there's some bad stuff that they've
there
put out.
are.
I didn't think Extraction was bad by any stretch. Was it the best? Was it, the was the story as tight and well done as like a Marvel movie? Probably not.
Mhm.
Was there some cliche stuff in it? Sure. Um, but it wasn't a bad movie. It was an entertaining movie. It went by really quick, and 21 Bridges had a great cast and, was a entertaining film, too. I really enjoyed that. I just, I understand that, they're kind of fighting that the bar for them has been set so high by their involvement with the MCU, I think maybe that's skewing some of the looks at other stuff that they've been involved with. I'd like to still see Cherry. It's not available streaming anywhere yet, unless I think you purchase it digitally, which I think I'm kind of just waiting for it to hit one of the streaming platforms. But I'll watch it as soon as I'm able to.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I still probably will give Cherry a try at some point. I was more interested in that one than 21 Bridges. I'm if anything, I'm interested in watching 21 Bridges just because it was one of Chadwick's last movies.
Chadwick,
He did that
yeah.
one, and then what was the one he just did that he had, like, a really good performance in? It was like a period piece. I can't remember what it was, like Get On Up or something? I don't remember
Uh,
what it was.
Get On Up with James Brown one he did a few years ago, but
Oh,
I
was that
know
that one?
it's Ma Rainey's
Yeah, something like that.
something. Yeah.
Like, I heard
Yeah,
he was
that's
great
supposed
in
to be
that.
excellent. He got nominated, I think, for a Oscar for that, right?
I think so.
I
Yeah.
believe when the Oscar nominations were announced last week or the week before, I believe he's nominated for an Oscar
Mhm.
for it, which I haven't seen that one either. Again, that's another one that I'm kind of waiting till, with theaters not being open, I have a hard time shelling out $30 to own a movie on a
Mhm.
streaming platform versus, I used to pay the $10 to $15 to go see it in a theater, but you add another 20 on top of that, even to own it. If I don't like it though, I don't, if I don't care for it, I'll never watch it again. I have a hard time paying the extra 20 for that. So with theaters being closed, I've missed out on a lot of movies.
Yeah, I I get that they need to charge the money for people because 'cause they're not getting, like, return viewings, and they're not getting, 5-person families coming to so I get the $30 price points for especially not like Disney paying $30 for premium access to their movies when they put them on, like, I get it, but it's a steep price just to, like, pull it up
Sure.
on your
Try
TV.
something.
Yeah, and you're like, you just don't even know if you're gonna like it, like,
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm not a big fan of doing that myself, so we already pay for every streaming service available now. It's like,
Yeah, there was that golden age of streaming where you had like just Netflix and maybe Amazon Prime,
mhm,
when people were cutting the cord, but now cutting the cord doesn't save you any money because you have to subscribe to 15 different streaming services.
yeah. And the weird thing is with this movie too, this article goes on to say, like, it's based on a book, but apparently, like, I'm assuming that they it's obviously gonna be an adaptation of sorts because I guess the plot points are still, like, unknown, which is,
Yeah.
like, interesting. Like, it just says there's a deadly duel between killers. So, again, it's very and they even go on to say that it's very unclear that if it's gonna be like a direct adaptation or if it's gonna be if they're taking their own liberties with it. Again, I'm interested in it for the actors. Like, obviously, they're great, and then if they're gonna make you're gonna tell me the 2 guys who made not Falcon and Winter Soldier, but who made Captain America: The Winter Soldier is gonna make a
Yeah.
movie like that, then I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
So I'm
No.
hoping I'm hoping one day I hope
Well,
they knock it out of the park, like, for this
and
one.
it's also, that big production budget that they had
Mhm.
when they worked on their Marvel films. So, they're able to not really hold back on, the action set pieces and stuff, which is exciting too. I'm super excited for this film. I think I'm hoping it'll be good.
Yeah, and then interestingly enough, here it goes on to say that there's 10 books in this series, and
Mhm.
they're wanting to turn this into, like, an MCU-esque movie series with, like, Gosling returning for future movies. So, I mean, I don't know, it's ambitious. I don't want 'em to put the universe before the movie, but But I mean, they are explicitly saying that they're looking at things beyond the first movie, like, so, which is good and
I
bad. I think that I don't think they're experienced enough in that realm to where I don't think they would make the same kind of pitfalls that Universal did with the Dark Universe. So,
Well, and they seem like they're smart guys, so
mhm,
I'm sure they picked up stuff from Kevin Feige about universe building, and they worked with him on a number of different MCU movies. So, I'm sure that they have some idea of these are the things that we can do. These are the seeds that we can plant for possible future. But we also, like we talked about last week with Kevin Feige, I think, and keeping the stories contained, keeping focusing on one at a time. So.
mhm. And that's what it sounds like. I mean, they go on to say it's being conceived as a series of films and again, potentially branching out, and we could follow other characters, but we're not going to answer every question in the movie. So you're going to finish the movie and have a complete story, but you're still going to have questions about the wider universe, which is
Sure.
exactly how Kevin Feige does things. He
Yep.
tells the self contained story, but leaves some hanging threads that maybe they can be picked up on later in another movie or a sequel to this movie or whatever. So just hopefully there's enough. I mean, if there's 10 books in the series already, there's obviously, I mean, they have a blueprint of something, like some way they can at least borrow information from if they don't do direct adaptations. And there's obviously enough content within like the already pre-existing material to like lend itself to being a big overarching thing, I would imagine. Like 10 books is that's a lot of books. So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it though. Question is, guys, what do you think about this? Are you excited for the Gray Man? Did you even know it was called Gray Man before this, or was it just me completely brain farting on it being called the Gray Man? I had literally had no idea until I knew this movie existed. I didn't know the title existed though. It had to have, considering it's being named after the book that is pre-existing at this point in time. So it sounds like that one was just on me. But question is, what do you think? Let us know down in the comment section below.